This is Collab or Collapse, a podcast series brought to you by the Postgraduate Research Society, Swinburne Sarawak.
In today's episode of Postgrad Diaries Beyond Sunshine and Rainbows, we step into the office of postgraduate students at Swinburne to hear about their experiences at different stages of their journey. In our last episode, we explored the real-life struggles faced by students in working with their supervisory teams. This time, together with 3 postgraduate students, we'll discover how postgraduate life evolves, from those just starting out to those in the middle of their candidature and those nearing the finish line. First up, we have a first-year master's student, Twister Chan, in the Faculty of Engineering, Computing, and Science. She's researching how marine microbiomes can help with coral larvae settlement and spends lots of time in the lab doing preparation work and making sure the bacterial isolates stay alive. Joining us next is Ms. Adeline Tan, a second-year PhD candidate. Her work focuses on integrating plastic waste conversion and electrification strategies into industrial systems, paving the way toward net zero emissions. And finally, we welcome Edwin, a final-year PhD candidate in mechanical engineering. He specializes in the optimization of heating, ventilation, and air conditioning systems. Before his PhD studies, he spent 2 years in the precision manufacturing industry and completed a 3-month internship in the downstream lubricants sector during his undergraduate studies. In his free time, he enjoys photography and tinkering with technology.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Collab or Collapse. My name is Hui and I'm your host for today. When we talk about postgraduate studies, we often hear about the exciting side of things, the breakthrough moments of research, the excitement of presenting at conferences, or even the pride of seeing your work being published. It all sounds very glamorous or rewarding. But behind those achievements is a journey that is not always smooth sailing. Along the way, many postgraduate students experience moments of uncertainties, self-doubts that don't always get talked about openly. So in today's episode, we are checking in with 3 postgraduate students from Swinburne University of Technology Sarawak to unpack the struggles, the lessons that shaped their journey. We hope to paint a more complete picture for postgraduate life to remind us that behind every accomplishment is a path of both progress and persistence. Let's go. Alright, now we are starting our first check-in with Twister Chan. Twister is a full-time master's student in Swinburne University and she joined last year, November. Right, around there. Today marks about 4 months in. Right, so before we dive into Twister, can you please briefly introduce yourself to our listeners?
Hi, my name is Twister and I started my Master's by Research last October, November-ish, and I'm doing environmental science. Yeah.
Okay, so thanks Twister. Well, since we are sitting here in your office, right, could you walk us through what a typical day look like for you?
I guess at this stage, I don't usually come into the office. So whenever I'm on campus, I'm usually inside the labs doing like preparation work and all that. And those take up quite a lot of time. So usually after those, I just tend to want to go home and relax because it's a bit tiring. So yeah.
So now that you have been like 4 months in, right? What has been something that has surprised you so far as a postgraduate student?
I guess before I got in, I expected things to be a lot more structured, like people would be telling you what to do and all that. But then there's a lot of freedom and independency, so you kind of need to know how to juggle your own time and to be disciplined and manage your own time properly. So that's a skill that I'm still trying to learn.
Yeah, exactly. I think that is what I felt when I first started as a PhD student as well. Time management is really something important because basically no one will tell you what you're supposed to do at this time, and you will have to be very disciplined. Yeah. So, well, what's one thing of being a new postgraduate student that you are still figuring out or getting used to, aside from having a proper time management?
But I feel like that's the only thing. I guess you need to be brave to step out of your comfort zone to learn new things, which can be hard because it's more comfortable to be stuck in your own circle, kinda. So yeah, I guess I need to learn how to do that better, to be more comfortable in stepping out of my comfort zone.
Yeah, totally agree on that. I still remember when I first started my research attachment at a research institute, because everything is so new to me and I was so stressful. Every time when I go home, I lie on my bed and I just look at the ceiling for like half an hour at least. So yeah, I totally agree with you on that.
Yep.
Well, Okay, now let's move on to something that is not talking about the challenges. When you think about finishing your PhD, how do you picture yourself?
I guess I picture myself to have built a lot more friends and connections in you guys, I guess. So yeah, I think it's great too because your network is your net worth. But anyway, so yeah, and then how Swinburne offers us a lot of HDR training workshops and events, and those are all mostly free. So I think it's a good opportunity for us to go then meet new people and to network and stuff.
Yeah, networking is really important. Yeah, so one last question. Can you please give me one word for how PhD makes you feel now?
I guess at this stage I feel quite lost. But I feel at every stage you feel lost, but yeah, I'm not quite sure what to do and stuff like that. So it's just trying to figure my way out of this thing. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you so much, Twister, for joining us with us. For joining here with us today, and hearing how things look like at the very beginning of a postgraduate journey actually brings me back to when I just started, where it's a phase where everything still feels new and full of curiosity. But I think that's just the beginning. So we need to also know how things look like because experience and also perspective evolve over time as we move along the journey. So now let's move on to another PhD student who is already somewhere a little further along the way to listen to her story. Hi everyone. So now we have Adeline, who is currently at the middle stage of her postgraduate study. Hi Adeline, thanks for joining us today. So before we dive in, Adeline, can you please briefly introduce yourself?
Hello everyone, my name is Adeline. I'm a PhD student in chemical engineering and currently in the second year.
So you say that you are currently in the second year and you have about 1 year more to go before you can graduate. So you are not at the very beginning stage, but you are not so close to the finish line either. Well, since we are sitting here in your office, can you walk us through what a typical day look like for you?
Okay, so here I am in the B5 office. So the first thing I come to the office every day is definitely straight going into my work. At least that's the plan. And since I'm not working in any experimental work, so I'll be spending most of my time here in the office. So I have a lot of friends sitting around me here. I have the PGRS president sitting right behind me and the vice president just in front of me. So sometimes we just break into conversation, randomly talk about work, of course. And then, of course, sometimes we phase out and then we just reminding each other to get focused and then we get back into work. And then the cycle repeats. So I would say that the working environment here I have in this office, it's a nice balance of working independently and also have the supports from all my peers.
That sounds really great. Well, now that you have been in your postgraduate journey for a while, what has been the biggest challenge that you have faced throughout the journey?
I would say one of the biggest challenges is that, especially when in the middle stage, that I feel like I'm stuck in between because like what you said just now, I'm not a new student anymore. And graduating seems a little bit far for me. So I would feel like that there's this pressure that I would think that I should have achieved something by now, but I don't see the impact yet. So when I first joined a PhD, I would think that this journey would be just all about doing research. But then the reality is there's deadlines, there's juggling responsibility, and there's also managing expectations. So I think the gap in between what I expected and what actually the journey is the hardest part that I faced so far.
So how have you been navigating through the challenges?
One big thing that I think it helps is my supervisory team. So they're really patient, extremely patient, I would say, especially clearly that I'm stressing out a little bit about this. And they will keep remind of what I've achieved so far. But sometimes I'm like, easy for you to say because you're so successful now. But also that I realized that there's also once a student, right? And their mindset of how they think about progress is something that I think I need to learn from. So for them, like what they say, quote by them is, the PhD is not about the outcomes. It's not like there's this box ticking that you need to have how many publication and how many award. It's about knowing what I'm actually doing and why am I doing this at the first place. So yeah, I think that's something that I'm currently still picking up to learn.
Yeah, I completely agree with the point you mentioned just now. A good supervisory team will actually make your postgraduate journeys to be so much easier because you know that they are basically someone who can guide you along the way and someone who you can seek help to when you are facing certain challenges. So yeah, and also I appreciate how you are willing to open up and share about your challenges with us and also to tell us how we can navigate through this kind of challenges. I'm sure this will give insights to our listeners who are also at a similar point of their studies as well. So now we have done talking about challenges. Now let's talk about something fascinating. Well, when you think about finishing your PhD, right, how do you picture yourself?
Okay, so I don't have a certain answer yet, like where I would be. But there's something that I wanted to remind myself is that I hope that even after completing my PhD, I'm still working on research. That's one thing that I would really hope that I'll hold on to, regardless of where my career takes me.
Yeah, okay. So one last question. Can you please give me one word for how PhD makes you feel now?
At this stage, I feel like the words that can, that's the right term I can use here is unknown. So this unknown makes me feel uncomfortable because it makes me feel like I have no idea whether I'm going into the right direction now. But then it also means there's more opportunity open up for me to learn.
Yeah, so there's still a lot of uncertainties as well, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so thanks so much, Adeline, for joining us today.
Thank you.
And also hearing how intense the middle stage of a postgraduate journey can be. It actually got me wondering, I'm sure like things will get better when we are close to the finish line at least.
Really?
We hope. I mean, we don't know because we are both not at our final stage yet, but we do know someone who is currently at the final stretch of his postgraduate journey. And so now let's move on to our last interviewee for today to listen to his story. Hello, Edwin. Thanks for joining us today. So Edwin is currently at the final stretch of his postgraduate journey. He's basically in the midst of wrapping up his thesis and also anticipating any comments from the examiners. And I think after this, we can officially call you Dr. Edwin, right?
Technically, that's true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So we've just heard from Adeline about how intense the middle stage of a postgraduate study can be. And well, we both thought like probably things will get a bit better when we are at the final stage of the postgraduate study. So, and we need you to unpack that for us. But before we dive in, Edwin, can you please briefly introduce yourself?
Sure. My name is Edwin and I'm majoring in mechanical engineering. So yes, like Sinhui has mentioned, I'm at the end of my PhD because I've submitted my thesis and waiting for the examiner feedback before I can officially graduate. So yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks, Edwin. So first question, since you are now already approaching your final stage of your postgraduate journey, I imagine being at this stage can feel very different. So can you walk us through what a typical day looks like for you now?
Sure. Yeah, so since I'm still waiting for the examiner feedback, of course, every day I'll open up my email to check whether there's any feedback from the examiner. And other than that, it's very different because I get to regain my usual routines. I help out my family with some painting work and some gardening as well. And try to make use of the Swinburne gym as well because we are still technically students, right? Yeah, make use of that. And other than the routines, I'm also reflecting back on the experiences that I had during my postgrad journey. Because after graduating, it's going to be about careers, right? So we have to think about what were the skills that I have gained and what value that I can bring into my next journey. Yes.
Yeah. I think at this stage is somewhere where you can finally pick up things that you are not able to when you are so busy with your postgrad journey.
That's right.
And then also try to also start planning how where you want to go in terms of your career.
Yes.
Right. So just now we have heard how challenging the middle stage of the postgraduate journey can be. So just wondering, is things still very stressful for you right now? Or it is like very different? Like what you mentioned just now, you finally started to have time to pick up like other things. Do you have any other different feelings at this stage?
Yeah. So, of course, as you have listened just now with the gardening, the gym, the painting work, it's a lot more relaxed, but there's still anxiety there because the thesis is still in the examiner's hands. So the anxiety I'm feeling right now is anticipating what feedback that I may receive to be ready to make the necessary amendments to graduate. And of course, on we can also mitigate this anxiety as much as possible during our studies by having some collaboration with our supervisors near the end in our writing process, because we can let our supervisors know what contents we are lacking. Because for my case, the problem with my draft thesis was I delved into the technicalities too directly. So I had to pull back a bit, look at the big picture, and also had to look at my analysis at a different angle. So with my supervisor's assurance during the thesis writing stage, I'm able to reduce that anxiety a bit more. Yeah.
So do you still see these as a challenges, or is like a routine for you? Because like for us who are someone who is at the middle stage, right? We are still getting used to doing a lot of different like difficult tasks and every day. Like what you mentioned, we have to address the comments from the reviewers when we are planning to publish the papers, or even address the comments from the supervisors. All this seems to be something that we are still getting used to. So do you still see this as like challenges, or is that like a routine for you already?
I think it's no longer much of a challenge during this stage because the thesis is still in the examiner's hands. But I want to just echo my supervisor's words. Submitting the thesis is just like having a monkey off your back, because during your candidature, it's just like this monkey behind your back pestering you. So after submitting your thesis, at least that's out of the way, and though we still need to anticipate any further comments. So yeah, I would say it's a lot less of a challenge now compared to the process of writing my thesis, doing a different kind of analysis for the results, all the data that I have laying out in front of me. Yeah, it's a lot better than that.
Okay, thank you for that. So another question is, just now we have heard from Adeline and also Twister about how they have pictured themselves when they are close to the end of their postgraduate journey. And of course, I'm not going to ask you to picture that because you're already here, right? So I just want to ask, like, do you feel like you have become the person that you wanted to be when you first started the postgrad?
Well, it's a yes and no question. Because yes, in terms of before coming into PhD studies, I envisioned myself as, being able to learn more things and open to more knowledge, which definitely happened. Yeah, I learned a lot more skills, and as well as like joining PGRS, a lot more soft skills as well as the technical skills in my research. And it's not what I imagined in terms of I didn't become like this super knowledgeable, super nerdy person, because there's still a lot of things that I don't know. And right now I'm able to better ground myself when I see a research problem and break it down to, what's the novelty behind this and what makes the research work, what novelty and impact it can bring. So yeah, it's a yes and no for me.
Yeah, I can see very clear that at this stage it's more like you are thinking about what is the potential impact that your work can actually bring. It's more related to, I think, real world applications because you are moving into working already, right? So last question, can you please give me one word for how PhD makes you feel now? Just one word.
I think that word will be acceptance. Yeah, because stepping into PhD, you have these idealistic expectations, and because you haven't delved deep into that topic, it can go very far. As in, I feel that I want to achieve many things, solve many problems, become the expert in HVAC, which is my topic. And along the way, you can ground yourself because you really step into what works and what doesn't, and the limitations you have as the student, and what challenges you have to counter throughout your candidature, as well as the voluntary work that you help with, for example, PGRS and helping out with some School of Research events. Yeah, you learn to slowly accept that you've gained a lot in this journey, although it's not as perfect as you envision. So it will be acceptance.
So thank you, Edwin, for sharing your journey with us. And hearing your reflections at this point actually brings the whole PhD journey into a full circle, because we've heard how Twister have described her journey as lost, and then Adeline described her journey as unknown, and then you say that is at the final stage is already acceptance. Right, and I think one thing that is very clear is there's no single way to experience the entire postgrad journey, because each of the stage comes with its own learning curve, emotions, and even challenges that you have to deal with. So as we wrap up today's conversation, we hope this episode gives you a glimpse into what each stage of the postgraduate journey look like, and also I hope the insights provided from our guests can actually tell you how you can handle the life highs and also lows in your studies as well. So of course, I know everyone's experience is different. So if what you have experienced is totally different from what you have heard today, we would love to hear your story in the comments. Right, so thanks for tuning in, and we will catch you in the next episode of Collab or Collapse. See you.